Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster doing part 2 of What If Deku Had the Big Dipper Style. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 or part 0 yet, please watch them before you watch this, alright? And with that taken care of, happy Halloween, and before the what if begins, hit it. Now then, when we last left off, Deku was finishing up his training for the UA exam. As he was getting ready to leave, he ended up running into Momo, who was there to wish him good luck. As he is walking alongside each other as they leave to get to the train station before parting ways, Deku blushed a little bit and nervously asked Momo if after the exam's done they could go on a date. Momo has a kind of calm demeanor right now as he says, "That sounds perfect," as he grins and hurries off to the train to get to the exam. Once out of sight, Momo completely blushes beet red and has an internal panic attack. So, yeah. As he gets there, he sees UA and everybody that's going in there. He doesn't trip like in canon, as he is a lot more confident, though he still bumps into Bakugo as he states, "Out of the way," with Deku just thinking he isn't in a good mood. I wonder how badly Grandpa smacked him around for training, as he goes into a flashback where his grandpa told him to make sure he does his best and pass. And if he doesn't, he's gonna put him through the ringer even more so than he's ever done in his entire life. Back to reality, he's just slightly crying, as in the kind of anime crying thing that they do when the character is thinking, "Why me?" He goes in, sits down, as President Mike explains everything. While he is listening to this, he's double checking his bag and such to make sure he got his gear. Most importantly, his special gloves that help with the fingerless part, having the metal rings around them to enable him to open up some openings in his skin for his blood to come out. So, yeah. As Ida does step up, asking about the zero pointer and remarking that Izuku should not paying attention and not be rummaging through his bag. Deku didn't really mind him that much. Compared to his grandpa, this kind of scolding is literally nothing. So, yeah. After getting all that settled and he finishes up the writing portion, Deku heads to the battleground, where he puts on his gloves as well as put on some very movable clothes to get ready for the fight. As President might announce that there's no countdowns in actual battle, so just go. The door's opening. Deku uses his blood to latch on to the closest light post and yank himself right into it, shooting over the lamppost and using his blood sword to cut through the first robot he saw, continuing with the rest. As he's slicing through the robots with his sword, he's scorching the insides with the flame portion of this power. Though switches over to the trident form, using it to control his blood and its wind powers in order to make wind slashes, taking out a number of robots. This does draw the attention to a lot of the examinees, Ida included. So yeah, they're shocked that this kid has some kind of dual elemental blood quirk. Izuku does end up racking up a good number of points, not just for villain points, but for a few hero points too. When he saw somebody in trouble, he used blood threads to snag them and draw them away from danger. So, after a while, when the exam was getting close to the end, he heard the ground rumble as he turned around, seeing the 0 pointer. He was about to get out of there until he heard a girl yell out for help. When he turned around, he saw, like usual, Ochako Uraraka trapped under some rubble. Instantly, he blitzed towards it, thinking, what should he do? He figures that he has to use one for all for this, power juicing him up, but he can't control it at 100%, so he needs to fuse it with his quirk to at least try not to break his bones. But he's panicking, not knowing which weapon to use. In this panic state, he goes on instinct and ends up doing something very accidental, but yet very impressive. Instead of forming a trident or a sword, the blood weapon he forms takes the form of a scythe. As he swings it, a powerful flaming wind blade cuts clean through the 0 pointer in half, not only melting the metal clean through, but the wind pressure from it, from being amped up from one for all, full on sending it back as it falls down to the ground and explodes. Afterwards, he does use his blood to get the rubble off of Ochako, and the announcement from President Might stating that the exam is over, he practically instantly just falls down, sitting, remarking that he's really tired and that he probably used up way more blood than he needed to, or that he had at least intended to stop that robot, since using his power has sometimes the effect of anemia for him. So his diet tends to include a good amount of red meat and such, including liver and other food that are good for his blood, including its production and such. As he thinks that hopes his mom is cooking up a big meal for when he gets back. As Recovery Girl comes through healing people and getting the Deku, he checks him and sees that he does seem a bit pale. Izuku remarks, it's fine, I just need to eat something, that's all. As Recovery Girl still asks him to come see her in the nurse's office just in case. He complies. After getting there, he checks him out and sees that he seems to have lost a good amount of blood, though he doesn't know all the particulars about his quirk, and begins to ask, as he states that he uses his blood in some cases, like whenever he uses the fire portion of it, to act the same as fuel. So, as for the wind, extending it and using it to blast wind tends to send some of the blood just out with the wind. So, either way, he loses some of his blood with each attack, at least using it with the elemental portions combined with it. Recovery Girl makes note of this to make sure to keep an eye out for it in the future. Afterwards, Izuku gets home and just sits. As his grandpa asked, "How did the test go?" Izuku stated he might have done something pretty cool, but unintentional, which does catch his grandpa's attention as he's just, I don't want to say standing because he doesn't have legs. He's just kind of balancing on a cane, as you can see in the thumbnail. So, yeah, and asked what happened. Izuku tells him about the blood sight that combined the wind and fire aspects of his power into a single weapon, which got his grandfather excited as he yells at his grandson that tomorrow they're going to be training and that he is going to show him that little trick he's talking about. Because he wants to see that in action. As Izuku states that it seems to have a bit of a side effect though. It made me I since it was the first time I used it, I ended up losing a good bit of blood without meaning to. So I gotta kinda hammer out some things about it. But his grandpa stating, and only more reason for us to train. And Izuku's just saying, "Oh, please, God help me." As Inko states that their supper is ready, and he eats a lot. A lot of red meat and such, since Inko thought that this might happen, so she ended up having Izuku make, you know, she prepared for in case he got anemic from the exam and using his power. So she stocked up on a good amount of meat and such to help him out. Which he is just eating like crazy. Next thing we see, well, time skip, and next thing we see is that Izuku gets his letter from UA, which his mom is nervous about, and his grandpa is waiting and wait because if he doesn't pass, his grandpa is gonna fully encompass, like full on drag Izuku through the ringer, like he said he would. Which he is lucky. He not only passed, he ended up getting the top score, with Izuku being ecstatically thrilled. So, yeah, as we get to where he calls Momo and tells her, as he congratulates him and such. After about a day or two, they end up going on their date. They didn't do anything too great, extravagant or anything. Dinner and a movie, pretty simple and pretty nice. As they walk back home, they begin to talk, telling them about the classes that they're be going to, seeing that they're both be in class 1A. So it is a good time for them and such. As then we get to the day where we see Izuku getting ready and heading off for his first day of UA. Though he, on the way there, he ends up getting delayed. Now then, As he goes over to UA, he feels something on the back of his neck, like someone's following him. After such intense training with his grandpa over the years, he's gotten a sixth sense of when somebody's after him. Especially Bakugo contributing to that, since Bakugo wants to prove that he's better and beat Deku, or at least beat his grandpa, since he seems to have a more precise control over it. So, yeah, he's used to being assaulted all, practically on a daily basis, whether it's from training with his grandpa or spontaneous attacks from Bakugo trying to figure out something to take out Deku's grandpa by practicing on him. So, this felt a lot weirder as he tried to ignore it and just hurry up and get to school. Unfortunately, however, he is quickly rushed at from the side by what seems to be a blonde girl in a schoolgirl uniform, moving around so quickly and acrobatically. He tries to avoid her and what apparently a knife or two that she has in each hand. The most that he can make out from her face is a very big, sharp toothed smile. He gets a few cuts, but after one or two cuts, he has enough and goes for the attack, but she's freaking gone. Just out of there. He is a mess, and now he has a chunk of fabric missing and a cut. As he just sighs, heading off to school. As for school in general, they are all talking to one another as Momo wonders where Izuku is. Aizawa walks in telling them to be quiet as he complains that it took them too long to do do what he told them to. Also stating that they seem to be missing someone. As Izuku on schedule, well, at least, on the note, opens up the door and looking like a mess, with Aizawa stating, "You're late." And Momo instantly sees that he has a cut on his arm as he's bleeding. As he goes over to ask what happened, Aizawa takes a look, asking who attacked him. He just says, I I honestly don't have any idea. I really don't. All I know, that it most accurate description I could say, was a blonde, sharp toothed, smiley ninja schoolgirl? With everybody just looking at him with the what the hell? Deku just states, "Look, I don't know. I just got us. All I know is that I got assaulted on the way here. They cut, he cut me, and then scrammed. I don't know why." As Aizawa tells him to hurry up and go to the nurse's office. As he does, uh, Aizawa tells Momo to go with him and then uh, hurry up to get dressed for and meet them at the sports field. So she does. As they're walking, he asks if there was anything else. He kind of looks at the days for a minute and states, "I'm not sure, but I think she tried to grab my groin." With Momo having a kind of odd face, pulling out a phone, saying, yes, I think I'm going to be calling the police now." As now the police are investigating a assault and or attempted murder slash possible, other kind of assault that was attempted on Izuku Midoriya. As for the one who attacked him, we see her putting the piece of bloody fabric that she grabbed after cutting it off of him, putting it in a little jar, stating he's perfect, able to dodge all those fatal blows and such. And not to mention that power of his. After I saw it on the news, it was just perfect. As he just grins like a very, very, very scary kind of grin. So you already know who this is. As afterwards, he gets healed up from the cut, and Momo and Izuku hurry up and get changed in the boys slash girl locker rooms, heading off to the field. But as I was stating, took long enough, as they state asking why aren't they going to orientations. And Aizawa filled them in that since UA is in a typical school, he can run his class however he wants. Throwing the ball to Izuku, telling him to throw it and to use his quirk. As he takes it, he thinks about it for a little bit, thinking about what to do. As he remembers some of his training, mastering that new combo style thing he's been practicing after the exams with his grandpa. Charges up one for all and balancing it out to not break himself, and uses some blood to surround the ball in kind of like a ring around it. As he tosses it, the blood not only ignites but blows furious wind to full on launch it, sending it about, let's say, 1,752 meters. And this is with him doing it without perfecting not only one for all, but this new combo style he's trying to hammer out. With Bakugo being furious that Deku has been holding out on him, though controlling himself enough not to attack him outright. As for the rest of the exam, he ends up doing pretty well, getting first place. Afterwards, things just kind of continue as they begin to leave. As Deku and Momo begin to walk together out of UA, Ida and Uraraka caught up with them. Ida remarks about how much of a better student he is to him since he didn't get to do it in the classroom earlier. As also Uraraka thanks him for saving her during the exam. Deku remarks that he didn't know about the hero point system and you're welcome. As Momo asked, what exactly were did you save her from? With Ochaka remarking about the 0 pointers and how freaking huge they were. Momo didn't think that they would use robots like that for an exam, since Momo took the recommendation one. So, yeah, as they continue, Todoroki also follows up, stating that it's been a while. Izuku takes a minute, but then remembers him, stating, oh, you're that kid that my grandpa scolded about doing things half-assed, aren't you? As Todoroki just sighs, remarking, that's really how you remember me? Suppose it's accurate, but still. As they just begin to talk. afterwards splitting up at the train station to each to go home. So, yeah. As next we see uh, on their next day of school, where Izuku explains the whole thing to the audience, the whole fourth wall breaking thing, the normal courses of, typical high school. Though, with the addition of the hero course, as All Might walks in, showing off his Silver Age costume. As we see Izuku thrilled for this, as well as all the other students, when All Might shows off what their training will be doing the combat portion. As for anything else, he states that they have to look the part, showing off the the walls opening up for their hero costumes. Now, Izuku's hero costume is a black jacket and pants with a white shirt. This is a t-shirt, by the way, along with the same black gloves with the metal rings at the ends of the fingerless parts, like I said, help him make some openings for his blood to come out, as well as act as kind of uh, kind of like a sparking mechanism by clanking, like sliding them together to ignite his blood for the flames. As they walk into the battlefield, with All Might stating that they say clothes make the pros and you students are the proof. As he begins to explain the scenario, which is pretty straightforward. The villains either have to capture the heroes or protect the bomb until time runs out, or the heroes have to capture the villain or get to the bomb by simply touching it in order to win before the time runs out. So, pretty simple. As Izuku ends up being paired with Ochako again, he doesn't mind, and Momo wishes him good luck. Gives a thumbs up, saying no problem, as he is now going up against Bakugo and Ida. After going through the floor plans and such, they talk about a strategy. Izuku states that they might want to knock out Bakugo first, as Izuku remarks that out of the two, he probably has the most combat ability. Ochaka thinks that that's probably right, given his quirk is explosion and Ida's quirk is engine, which allows for fast movement, but also thinks that that probably means Ida's kicks are pretty powerful too. So the plan was simple. Go for Bakugo first, since Izuku knows Bakugo pretty well and is used to him attacking him out of nowheres already. He tells Ochako that he's probably gonna blitz right for him. He asks Ochako to at least get a hand on him while he distracts him to make him weightless. He asks, wait, wouldn't that make it easier for him to use his explosions for mobility? Izuku states, yeah, probably out in a more opened area, but since this is a enclosed area, it would cause him to have too much power, causing him to try to adjust his blast to move around properly without smacking into the walls and such, while also fighting me. As he then states that he needs Ochako to get to the bomb and try to get it before he gets to her, at least until he uh, takes care of Bakugo. He states Yeah, okay. So, with the plan formulated, they hurry up and go in as the test starts. Like he expected, Bakugo came right for him, as Deku used his blood to create a blood barrier, with Kachan stating, "Ah, really hate that you can make a shield so powerful and thin with your blood." With Izuku stating, "Yeah, comes in pretty handy," as he makes a blood katana, going straight for Bakugo. Bakugo uses his explosions to maneuver around, trying to keep away from it. Though he keeps trying to make sure not to get caught by anything expecting it, considering how much Izuku's grandfather ragdolled him with his blood. Though, in the heat of battle and making sure he doesn't bump into any walls to give Izuku an opening, he does end up getting snagged on his right leg and left arm by the blood threads that he was controlling with his other hand. As Kacha, uh, as Kat's Bakugo begins to set up for a big explosion from his hands to try to blast the blood away from him to free himself, Ochako quickly slaps him on the back, zero gravifying him, as he then begins to float, asking, "The hell?" And she hurries up and bolts out of there to get to the bomb room, with Bakugo thinking, "You already know I can fly. You think this is gonna change anything?" As he tries to blitz towards him, he quickly realizes after running into the wall when Izuku dodged him coming towards him that he went a lot faster. But Izuku stating, "Without gravity holding you back, you're a lot faster. More so than you've ever been used to, right?" With Bakugo saying, "Shut up," as he goes in for another direct attack, but forgets he still has some blood threads on him, and is lashed around a lot easier now that he doesn't have gravity to worry about. While he's in a daze, Izuku binds his arms with the blood, even using the threads to control the capture tape and capture Bakugo, with All Might stating, "Bakugo has been captured." As he states, "Oh, come on!" Retracting his blood from Bakugo, Bakugo is just furious as he remarks, "And I had a secret weapon all set." With Izuku stating, "I'm guessing it's those gauntlets, huh? Well, save them for later then." With Bakugo scoffing at him, being pissed that he's out. We go over to Ida and Ochako, with Ida keeping the bomb away from Ochako pretty easily, as he's trying to stay alert. Izuku, on the other hand, takes a quick peek through the door, seeing how things are going, and as Ochako goes over towards Ida, who is on the opposite side of the room, Ida obviously runs around quickly with the bomb, getting away from Ochako, which Izuku was waiting for, as he extends his blood threads to snag Ida's legs at the ankle as well as the bomb, full on pulling, well, the metaphorical rug from under Ida, as he is now being hung upside down by his feet, and Izuku is holding up the bomb with the other blood threads, with All Might stating, "Hero Team wins." As for back at the meeting where they were going through everything, he asked who was the MVP. Almost states that it was Deku, Zuko, since he analyzed what he knew about his opponents as well as his allies to take advantage of what disadvantage they could make from it, remarking that Bakugo was unaccustomed to the drastic increase in speed that Ochako giving him zero gravity would allow, as well as his anger blinding him to the fact that he still had those blood threads on him and was tossed around, easily being captured. And while Ochako was trying to get the bomb, when Ida ran over to near the door where Dooku was, he used his blood threads to grab his feet, which are primarily what his quirk is all about, as well as the bomb, safely securing them both. With All Might being somewhat frustrated because he didn't get to say anything, as the rest of the tests go as in canon. As for Momo's test, Izuku gets a little annoyed from Mina ogling Momo as he thinks, I'm gonna fry that little grapefruit. Afterwards, they head off and we see Bakugo stating that he won't lose to Izuku ever again. Understand? Izuku smirks and states, Alright, then bring it. I'm ready. I'll be ready for you anytime, anywhere. With Bakugo storming off because that kind of attitude just pisses him off a bit more. With Momo laughing a little bit, stating that his personality really matches up with his quirk, doesn't it? With Izuku sighing, stating, You have no idea. I was able to evade him so easily on his first preemptive attack, only because he's kept attacking me over and over again over the years for training, especially with Grandpa. As Momo asked, What exactly is with your grandpa? Izuku states that him and his grandpa have the same quirk, so he trained him, and he put me through the ringer a lot. Not to mention that his control over his blood itself is so perfect that he's able to compensate for all the organs and stuff he lost from an old accident he got into. As Momo states, is that why he's just a partial torso on a stick? With Dooku stating, yes, yes it is. And that is by far the most accurate and weird way to describe my grandpa's appearance. So yeah, this is where we'll be leaving off for this what if. Do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also remember to hit that notification bell. And if anything else, have a happy Halloween and hope you enjoyed. See you later.